The biggest Indian presence at the World Economic Forum 2019 by far is that of Andhra Pradesh. Joining us now live and exclusive in Davos in Switzerland is Nara Lokesh, runs multiple ministries in the government of Andhra Pradesh, son of Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu, seen by many as heir to the fortunes of the Telugu Desam party, a key player in the politics of southern India. Mr. Lokesh, welcome to India today and thank you for joining us in the freezing cold.
Thanks for having me.
We just had a very nice Andhra breakfast at the Andhra Lounge behind us. This is the biggest Indian presence all across. Even the Indian government doesn't have a presence quite as elaborate as that of Andhra Pradesh here in Davos. Is this a sign of confidence that you will stay on in power after May? Or is this an extravagance because what happens in May isn't known and this could really end up being a waste of taxpayer money?
No, Andhra Pradesh has always been at the World Economic Forum. This is our 15th time we've come here. And Mr. Naidu in himself is quite a legend here. You know, as being a new state, it's very important to showcase what we're doing and what are the areas that we could actually work with. So this is where we see this as an opportunity. And if you look at any indices, I know state has been doing exceptionally well.
So what's been the response that you've received from international companies? How much interest is there at this time about wanting to invest in the new state of Andhra Pradesh?
Well, if you look at any metrics, right, if you look at FDI investment into India, Andhra Pradesh has been leading. The largest FDI investments have come into the state of Andhra Pradesh. If you look at rural development, Andhra Pradesh is number one. Ease of living, Andhra Pradesh is number one. So we've been doing exceptionally well as a state. And I strongly believe that this does translate to votes end of the day. And this has really created momentum into investments into the state.
There's been a lot of speculation around the conspicuous absence of your father, Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu. We met him just very recently in Vizag, where he was talking about how excited he was about coming to Davos, and then apparently there was a long meeting, lots of political uncertainty, we're building up to a big election, and it was decided that it's better to focus on politics than to focus on Davos?
No, I think he took an informed decision. The whole idea was that he was needed more in India. I think with the entire political equations shifting, I think his requirement was more there than here. So, but he sent a strong contingent here. So we're all here to represent the state.
Yes, and you're here, and while we're focusing on what's happening in Davos, attention at this time squarely focused on the big general elections in a few weeks from now. And we've been speaking to some Telugu Desam leaders who've been telling us that ticket distribution with the Congress is turning out to be a problem, that there is uncertainty about the transfer of votes, that the results in Telangana showed that because of the traditional fight between the Kammas and the Reddys, there is no guarantee that if the Congress and the TDP were to come together, that they transfer votes to each other's candidates. Can you explain from where you stand, what do you believe are the problems in the coming together of this alliance?
Well, I think today if you see, in India, the entire democratic institutions are being destroyed. If you look at even regulatory institutions, it could be the CBI, it could be RBI, it's now heading in the wrong direction. So I think as a state, we believe that there is a need for change. And, we need, for democracy to survive, there has to be a positive discourse, which today doesn't exist at the federal level, at the national level. So I think there is a need to build on that. And that is where we believe that an alternative should come in. And that is where, as the Chief Minister has been working with all the other regional parties and also the national parties in building an alternative to the NDA at the national level. Two, also, I believe if you look at even development or even welfare, I think a lot can be done in the country. In Andhra Pradesh, we've shown way in quite a few of the areas. So that is the reason that we believe that an alternative is important.
At this time, do you believe that the Congress and the Telugu Desam will fight the 2019 elections jointly, or do you believe that ball is still up in the air?
I think nationally we're quite clear. I think we've been working together, and the entire alternative is now getting formed. And you've seen that even in West Bengal, the recent program is quite clear on what the change in politics is going to happen in India.
You didn't really answer my question. Nationally, of course, you're together, but in the seats of Andhra Pradesh, the 25 Lok Sabha seats of Andhra Pradesh, will there be ticket distribution, some seats for the Congress, some for the TDP, or do you believe the possibility still exists that the Congress and the TDP will fight separately, even if that they are together in the national picture?
I think that is still for discussion. I think both political parties are still discussing it, and time will tell.
What is the problem? Because so many in the TDP have already spoken to us saying that, ticket distribution is turning out to be an issue. Do you believe the better strategy could be, like is the case in Uttar Pradesh, that the SP and the BSP are part of a national understanding, but in the state of Uttar Pradesh, the Congress is putting up its own candidates. Do you believe a similar model could also be followed in Andhra Pradesh?
See, it's still too early, because we are expecting code to come in the first week of March. Only post-code do we actually discuss about seats and alignments at that stage. So I think it's still quite early. I think we are 45 days away from that discussion.
But you're confident that there could be a seat-sharing alliance?
See, I think it's all open. I think in the next 45 days things will take
Do you
shape.
believe that it helps the TDP to have an alliance with the Congress? Now, the TDP is born out of a very strong anti-Congress feeling. Over the last several decades, you've stood for anti-Congressism. We saw this problem in Telangana, where you formed an alliance at the last moment, but it didn't yield results because the whole idea of the TDP is an anti-Congress idea.
No, the whole idea of TDP is not anti-Congress. It's against the role of the federal government in the state. What we have seen in the past, if you looked at it, right, in the erstwhile governors were used as tools to remove chief ministers, and we're seeing that all over again now with the Bharatiya Janata Party. We have seen in Jammu and Kashmir what has happened. There have been talks that there should be change in guard even in the state of Andhra Pradesh. They want to impose president rule. There have been talks. There have been letters written by the state BJP to the national BJP on this. So I think this is an indication that things are not right, and this is where we see a lot more of one-sided governance rather than a more proactive democracy that's coming.
I spoke to Akhilesh Yadav, and he told me one of his big dreams was to have his father Mulayam Singh Yadav installed as Prime Minister of India. As a young politician yourself, is it also your dream to have Chandrababu Naidu as Prime Minister of India one day?
No, Chandrababu Naidu will always be the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. His requirement is even more in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Being a new state, we are only 4.5 years old. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us. We've come a long way. We've done a lot of interesting work in the state. But I think it's just the beginning. We want to be the first $1 trillion economy in India. So for this to happen, we need strong leadership. So Mr. Naidu will be in the state of Andhra Pradesh.
No prime ministerial national aspirations and
Absolutely
ambitions.
not.
We saw Jagan Reddy, he's another young politician, do this pan-Andhra Padyatra, and he was at it relentlessly, like a man possessed. He'd just break to go to courts on Friday, Saturday to Thursday, walking across, and his yatra received a very strong response. The current poll seems to indicate that there is a fair amount of anti-incumbency that's built up, and that Jagan's popularity is on the rise. Do you see him as a big threat?
Absolutely not. I think polls are polls. We've done our own polling. We understand that we are quite strong. So I don't see that to be any challenge. We're ready whenever elections come. And also, what is the reason for change? The state has done exceedingly well. Welfare, we've been doing quite well. Development has been quite strong. Industries, we've attracted quite a few industries. We've created the highest amount of jobs in the country in Andhra Pradesh. So we've been doing quite well.